Hi there. I want to talk to you today about a 5-lettered word. Money. Money, 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 money. What does money mean to you? Do you see it as your friend or do you see it as your enemy? Do you see it as something that you're never meant to have? Are you always struggling to pay the bills? Do you worry about how the prices are going up at the moment? Do you worry about how inflation is going a little bit crazy at the moment and wages are not keeping up with it? Have you noticed in the news about how all these organisations are going out on strike because they're feeling that they're going backwards rather than going forwards? Have you noticed how much more money you're having to spend when you fill your car up with fuel? You see, all these things are going up all the time. But the crazy thing is, there's still just as much money around as there was before all these prices started to go up. Because money is just a word for something that we use to exchange that we're going to get a value for. Now, the value of that money is going down at the moment. Okay, so the amount of money that's out there is there for all of us. You may feel that you're not getting your fair share of your money. But have a think about this. What do you think about all the time? When it comes to money, what are your thoughts around money? Do you come from a place where you see that the wealthy people are nasty people, they're selfish people, they don't share? Where did those beliefs come from? Are those beliefs that you might have had impressed upon you as a young child by your parents or your grandparents or the people around you? Or do you see having no money as being somewhat virtuous? Okay? Because how we perceive things is how it's going to affect us. So if you want to have more money in your life, you've got to change what you're doing if you haven't got enough money in your life. You've got to realise that money is our friend, not our enemy. And the more money that we have, the easier our lives can be, and the easier the lives of the people around us can be, because it's going to circulate. Now, I'm not talking about money as something that should be the be-all and end-all, because money is pointless if you've got bugger all health. But if you're poorly and you've got plenty of money in your back pocket, then you can afford to go private, can't you? You can jump the queues. It might not be ethically right, but if it was your mother or your father that needed heart surgery, for example, and you've got the money to pay for it, you're going to go and pay for it, aren't you? You're going to find the best person to make sure that they're going to be getting a good outcome. That's what money can do for you. Did you know that money can be used for really good purposes like education? How would you like to fulfill your social responsibilities and be able to fund for the homeless people or another charity that's really important to you? Maybe to the donkey sanctuary, or maybe to the dogs that have been abandoned, the RSPCA, things that really mean something to you. Would you like to be able to fund those from a better place? You see, when we're worrying about the way that our cost of living is going up currently, we're putting ourselves into a juxtaposition. We're putting ourselves into a position where we're going to be attracting more of what we've already got. And that's because of the way that the mind works. Whatever we're thinking is going to come back to form. If we're thinking good, positive thoughts surrounding money, that money is our friend, we can use it to benefit others as well as ourselves, rather than just putting it in the bank and hoarding it and counting our pennies and being miserly like Scrooge was. Didn't work out very well for him there, did it? Get the story from that as to how he realised that he had to change his ways and spread his money around, and from spreading his money around he got loads of joy. There's lots of stories that are really good for us to learn from if we choose to. So what I'm saying to you, change what you're thinking around money. Having a lot of money isn't dirty. It doesn't make that person selfish. What it means is that they're in a position where they can choose to drive the car that they want, live in the house that they want, go on holiday where they want, and put what food they want on the table and which charities they choose to support. That's not a bad position to be in, is it? You see, I've come from both sides of the spectrum. I can remember when I'd been away on a course and came home after 2 weeks away to find a big stack of envelopes shoved through the door. They were telling me all the direct debits that had been bounced by the bank because there weren't enough funds in the bank to pay for my direct debits. What did the bank do? They told me something that I already knew, and they charged me £30 for every single letter that they sent me, and that's going back into the 80s, the late 80s. And then the bank suggested to me that I go and bank somewhere else. Wow, how about that for bank service? So I've been at that end. I know what it's like to be absolutely flat broke. I've also tasted being able to go away on holiday and have everything paid for before you go away. That's including all your spending money, including all your travel, including all your food. Everything was paid for beforehand. I've done this on a few occasions, and you have the most fantastic holiday. How many of you go away on holiday and you're paying for it all on a credit card? And you get back and you go, oh my God, how am I going to pay for that holiday? I'm going to have to be paying for that holiday for the next 6 to 8 months. Crazy, isn't it? We should only be spending money that we've got, not borrowing it. So let's bring it back to money. Let's bring it back to the way that we're thinking about money. We're going to attract what we think. We have roughly 60,000 thoughts every day. Only 1,000 of those thoughts are original thoughts. The other 59,000 or 98% of our thoughts we've had before. We had them yesterday. We had them the day before. We had them 10 years ago. These thoughts are habitual thoughts, and they're controlling the way that we work. So if you start worrying about having to pay the bills, just flip a switch, because it's purely a choice. Flip the switch. Start thinking about abundance. Use affirmations. Repeat affirmations on a daily basis about how money flows to you easily and freely, how you live an abundant life, how everything works out right for you. You see, if you start living from a positive place, positive things are going to happen for you. If you're worrying about everything, if you're worrying about how you're going to pay the bills and meet the bills, you're going to be attracting more of the same. 59,000 of our 60,000 thoughts every day are habitual. An awful lot of them are situated around money or lack of. Okay? Money is as important as air. We need it to survive in this modern world that we're currently living in. It's a tool. Money is purely a tool. It's what we do with the tool that defines whether it's good or bad. Okay? So, if you want to have an easier, more fulfilling lifestyle surrounding money and everything that it can get for you, flip the switch. Unless, of course, you're already in a position where you're thinking abundantly and you're expecting good things to happen for you and you're expecting your ship to come in. If you're already thinking like that, great. Good things are going to be happening for you right now and will continue in the future. But if you're of the sort of person that I used to be, where I was worrying about the letters coming through the door, can you remember the red gas bills you used to get? Meant you hadn't paid your gas bill in 28 days or whatever it was. Remember all those red bills? By heck, they don't do them anymore, do they? Or at least I'm not aware that they do them. If you're thinking about those, you attract more of the same. Be very careful what you're thinking about. And that's all it is for today. Let's start making our lives better, and we'll catch up with you soon.